Good evening, everybody. I'm Raphaëlle Lapôtre from the French National Library. I work on a project which is data.bnf.fr, which aims to disseminate on the web library metadata. In order for you to understand what this project is really about, I'm gonna make an introduction, short, I hope, about attention economy, what we call attention economy. So basically, my way to describe attention economy is this way. We have a big paradox. So we have a very limited human look, and we have a really limitless source of information, and this is a problem. We have to manage this problem. So there's two philosophies to manage this problem. One philosophy is rather the recommendation system's rational, and this is managing this human subjectivity, which is very limited. And one of the philosophy, which is more the library catalog's philosophy, is to manage this big amounts of information, and it is doing so with faceted classification. It is synthesizing. I'm sorry, this is very hard to pronounce for me. Synthesizing. It is synthesizing this huge amount of information into several levels of information, from general to specifics. So basically, if I show you the eBay website, I'm going to try to do that. You have that kind of faceted classification. You might know about it. So I do look at the categories, and you can refine your search by browsing through categories. So I can go to books. Where are books? Here. And then refine. I refine and refine and refine until I get to the item I'm looking for. So this is another way to manage the problem of attention economy, which is focusing on how to handle the huge amount of information. Now, when you want to understand the role of library metadata on the web, you have to think those data as some kind of a currency, because we are in an attention economy, and there is an attention currency. What I mean by that is that for a recommendation system, well, I'm talking a very general level, maybe I'm really wrong about that, but my feeling is that the recommendation system use links as data that express value. When you look at results on the Google page, you'll see that the data which is displayed is acting like a currency. It is representing the things it's pointing at, and it is showing a value by its position on the page. If it's on top, it's expressing a high value. If it's on the bottom, it's expressing a low value. So Google is basically using links, and it's measuring this value with the number of links which is pointing to an entity. So the links is really a currency of attention here. For us, the currency is not the same. For library metadata, the currency is entity, and it is its capacity to fold and unfold several levels of information into the entity. So I try to show you that. This is a visualization of a tree graph, and you see that if I click on one entity, it's folding level of information, and if I do that, it's completely folded. So the top level is really the valuable one, because it's folding every several levels which are getting you to the items. So this is really the valuable currency here, and this is how we measure the value of a library metadata, its capacity to synthesize and represent several levels of information. So basically this is what we do in data.bnf.fr. We try to reduce the noise when you're looking for a work from an author. Traditional library catalogs are going to show you several editions, but you're not looking for a particular edition, you're looking for the work. You want to access to a general idea of the work. So we are going to try to synthesize the several editions of one work into one metadata, which will express just the title of the work. So this is what we try to do at the data.bnf.fr projects. So this is what I was explaining you. This is basically the data modeling we are using. The name in the library vocabulary is FRER. It just changed the name, but this is basically what I'm explaining. So we're trying to express the several items into one work. Several items which are speaking about the same work, of course. So now is a more general presentation of the data.bnf.fr site. We have 5 entities in this website. We have author entity, we have dates entity, we have concept entity, we have work entity, and we have place entity. So the aim here is to those entities act as both a key for grouping documents on the same page. For instance, if I'm searching for Jean Jaurès, I'm going to find on his own webpage, and his unique webpage, all the documents that he's been writing and which has been written about Jean Jaurès. So this is not something that the library catalogs will do traditionally, but now we can do it. And if I'm looking for documents about climate, I will find it on just one web page. So this is really, those entities are acting as the grouping key, which is focusing documents around an entity, aggregating it at some point. And it's also a handle for search engines, because we know that most users now who are using search engine are formulating their queries into name of title, name of author, name of concepts, and so we're kind of preparing the queries to handle for the search engine to give it to the user. So we're simplifying the process of the user searching. The other role of those entities, for one, it's acting as a pivot. What I mean by pivot is that we have several catalogs, which we don't have just one catalog at the French National Library. We have the digital library, we have the archives and manuscripts catalog, and we have the main catalog. And all are talking about the same entity. So why not using this entity to just aggregate all those information and giving to the user on one unique web page to simplify it. The other role of that entity is acting as what we call authority, which is basically giving ideas to help the process of disambiguation. We have a lot of homonyms. For instance, think about one author which name is Jacques Martin. There's plenty of Jacques Martin. So this is really a big problem. And giving identifiers is helping us to make what we call authority, which is saying this one is not this one. And those identifiers that we are giving in the data.bnf.fr project are URI, which help to link to other institutions who might talk about the same entities. So we are doing cross-institution linking with URI attributed to entities. This is basically how we work. For instance, maybe can show you the VF process. Well, this is the page of Victor Hugo on the data.bnf.fr website. As you can see, there's a lot of documents in it, and we have documents from the digital library. We have information from from our main catalog, and we also have documents from our archives and manuscripts catalog, which are over there. No, somewhere here. Producteur de fondage. Okay, it's not there. Sorry. It's always like that. Yes, it is. Okay, and at the end of the page, sorry, the website is really not coming. I have to scroll so much. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, so here in the page equivalent section, you can see all the links to the other institutions like DBpedia, VF, Wikipedia, etc. And VF is a project which aims to handle homonyms between different institutions on an international side of it. Okay, so this is basically how the website is working. So the good news is that you can reuse our library metadata. You can access it through a Sparkle endpoint, because I didn't tell you it's in RDF, so you can reuse it from the RDF format once a bit. But the question is, why would you want to reuse library metadata? I mean, why, if you think library metadata as an attention currency, would it be interesting for you or for your projects to reuse our metadata? So my first answer to you is that those metadata has a really huge institutional voice. You can trust it. The thing is that the French National Library acts as a legal deposit. So every publisher in the country has to deposit its publication at the French National Library. And the counterparty is that we have to describe those documents. So we have a guarantee of exhaustivity on those metadata. So you're kind of sure that you will find all of the cultural domain metadata of France in the French National Library. So this is really a huge asset. The other thing is that those metadata are produced by catalogers. Those are catalogers who are really experts in their domain. So they really know very well their domains. They're not just people on Wikipedia. Well, Wikipedia are really good too, but I mean, this is really their what they do for their life. They're living their life with that, so they're really good at it. And those data are going through a very long process of validation. And actually, on the data.bnf.fr project, you have only validated data. You don't have data who are just in the beginning of the process. So it's been checked and then checked and checked again. So you can trust it. The other thing, as I told you before, is that those data are described with URI, so identifiers. So you can link it to other datasets, and datasets which are basically talking about the same things. So if you want to compare our geographical data to the National Geographic Institution data in France, you can do a benchmarking. You can measure your own data and its accuracy by comparing it to other datasets which are talking about the same things. So that's really, I think, convenient if you want to do that. Lastly, very recently we had one use case of this reusing of those data. One project named Redden has been using it to perform named entity recognition. So I'm not a very technical person, so if you want to ask me questions about named entity recognition, I will do like, why? why are you doing that to me? So please don't ask questions. If I describe the process, they're doing classification, so they're going through a text, and the algorithm is localizing people or organization or time, and they classify it into several categories. And then they used actually our datasets to link those entities once they had retrieved it into the text. So the text which was used was a literary criticism corpus. So they used authors from the National Library, and they used our geographical data to perform this linking. Here's one example with Wikipedia, but they've been basically doing the same with data BNF.fr. So it's really great because when you do that, you link to place where you can get more information about the entity a text is talking about. So why do I think it is a very interesting process? Well, for the moment, we are doing recommendation on our website. Well, some kind of linking. We are suggesting authors who are linked together. If you're going on the Victor Hugo page, you can find a link to a page where you can find other authors who contributed to works of this author. And this is very funny because sometimes you have the people who have been collaborating with alive people because simply their text has been used. Okay, go away please. Thank you. So what I want to do now is entity recognition can help with it, but I want to link author to place that their writings are talking about. For instance, I'd like a user to be able to retrieve from a work page dates that this work is about. And when you're proving a concept, which would be great, would be to find place where this concept is true or accurate, or dates which has been where this concept appeared in history, which would be very interesting for ID's history, for instance, and author who have been talking about that concept. So I want to develop a more open-ended exploration of our different entities and giving a more Zen approach to the web, which is like really opening new perspectives to the user, things that he wouldn't have to think about, things that's really incongruous for him when he's been browsing our entities. So this is basically it, and I thank you for your attention, and I really like this pony, by the way.
Just one thing, so if, for example, I'm downloading your dataset to link all the book on my website together on the same authors to improve my recommendation, do you have a name of authors in different languages? Because I know that we are selling books in different languages, and sometimes it's really difficult to link authors on the same book.
Absolutely, we do have different way of spelling the name of our entities, and actually it's been very useful for name entity recognition, as far as I know, because sometimes you don't have the good spelling on an author in a text. So this is very useful to have also what we call rejected forms, which are other available forms for naming an entity. Absolutely.
Two questions. The first one is, do you actually have a dataset that we can download, or do you only have a SparkQL querying form?
Actually, we have huge RDF dumps where you can retrieve all of those datasets, and if you go on each page, you can click a button which say RDF, and you can get the RDF of the page you're browsing.
Okay. And the second question is, datasets are?
I have numbers actually. Okay, gonna try to find it back. Yeah, we have 2 million authors. We have 2,000 dates, 100 concepts, 600 works, and 100 places, basically, which is very gross.
Why do you have more authors than works?
So actually, this kind of problem. So yeah, I didn't say that we have those works and we have what we call documents. Actually, we have a lot of documents, a huge lot of documents. I think it's like 10 million or something like that.
13 million.
Okay, 30 million. Thank you, Sebastian. And those documents are really, really huge. And this is the reason why we're trying to synthesize in what we call work or authority title. The authority title is regrouping all of those different kind of documents around their entities. And the thing is that we are at the very beginning of the process. We have those authority titles only when we have publications about this title. But for documents which are quite unknown and no one has been telling anything about those documents, we don't have an authority title. And this is a real problem we're trying to solve with automatic data treatment.
When you talk about this 13 million documents, is it the whole data set that you have, the whole data that you have, or only the data you are considering to work on? Is it?
They're available through the Sparkle endpoint actually, but yeah, they're available. So
Do you have more of them, or is it all you have and then you have to process them?
well, we have more than that. We have all of the unvalidated data because I told you that only the validated data was on the Data BNF website. So we have much more of those, but the other ones are not really trustable, and we want to keep our data very reliable. So this is the reason why I'm not disseminating them.
So how long is the process of validation? I mean, let's say that the book has been published today. How long does it take for you on site?
It's like 3 months now. 3 months or so, at the best.
Do you plan to put some kind of user content in your website, like, I don't know, reviews or link to reviews website? Or
This would be so great. Actually, we are organizing a hackathon at the French National Library where we want to kind of work on that kind of matter. So if you are interested, we would be very happy to welcome you at the institution.